Shifting your shins to the side and taking either your bolster or your blanket underneath your hips. So then you can get on to your height. Let your legs come up into the waterfall. Open your arms, and let's take a moment of breath, awareness, silence, peace. Breathing into any areas that might need your breath support. And this is where we get to play a little bit in a non-weight bearing way for our hips. So I'll invite you to widen your hips and then helicopter them. So they kind of twist, widen into a konasana or a wide-legged shape, and then come across and twist. So you can explore that with a little bit of height under your pelvis. Now you could take this right into a eagle wrap of your legs and draw your knees in and switch to that wrap of your legs and draw your knees in. Seeing if you can keep your torso pretty steady as you isolate your hips. And if you're feeling bumping or rubbing or clunking in your hips, sometimes I notice that. And I see if it's possible to sort of move free-form in a way that the movements are a little quieter. And I feel my hip joint floating there in the webbing of connective tissue and the joint capsule. And if you like, you can play with taking a figure four. So let's do right ankle in front of the left. You might even grab your foot and take it there, and then let the figure four fall in towards you. Maybe with your hands supporting that, or maybe not. And there's an option here to stay with that. You could interlock and pull in if you like, or you could straighten out your left leg and then take your figure four all the way down to the floor and allow for a little back arch, maybe even your arms over your head. You might draw that in wherever you are, big helicopter to take you over to the other side. So left leg in front of right, maybe you hold that in or support with your hands or interlock. Breathing peace into your hips. You might straighten your right leg and kick it out and open into a little more of a back bend shape. Draw that in. Now you could do that again, both sides. So right ankle on top of left knee, take your flavor of choice. Or some of you might play with right foot into a half lotus and then draw that right knee away from you a lot to create some airspace to bring your left foot in. And you could play with bringing your legs into a lotus and then drawing them in towards your chest. Lotus isn't for everybody, so you could be with that figure four wherever you like. If you're playing with lotus and you want to try it without your hands, this would be a nice place to try without your hands, the first lotus leg, right one for me, is moving away, so I have that airspace to bring my left foot in. And then you might try opening up into a bit of a back bend with your lotus legs. Finding some containment there through your lower abdomen. And you might switch sides. So if you had right ankle figure four, you could do the big helicopter and do left ankle figure four. Take it to wherever you'd like. Or you could play with left leg in lotus with the support of your hands. Left knee moves away. Maybe that gives you that space to bring your right foot on top. Maybe you play with that helicopter without the use of your hands. And you could take your whatever shape you have into a bit of a back bend. Containing through your lower abdomen, your two frontal hip points could squeeze together to support the opening that you choose. And after you feel happy with that, you can do a little more free-form movement. Start to wiggle yourself off of your bolster or blanket roll, and that might be an opportunity to take your soles of your feet together on that and your knees wide. And take a couple breaths into the supine Baddha Konasana. Sometimes I inch my low back into more length. I can do that by pulling on the edges of my mat and lengthening between tailbone and low ribs. Might be an opportunity to make your breath a little softer, a little smoother, a little longer. You might make your exhale longer than your inhale. And you might start to outstretch your legs so that your knees are now more on top of the prop or your upper legs. And if it feels okay for you, letting your breath move down into the region of your hips. You could close your eyes and let yourself really sink, especially your sacrum, the bone at the back of your pelvis, said to be the last bone to disintegrate. The heaviness of your center of gravity, or anywhere from your solar plexus down into your pelvis, perhaps allowing yourself to get more grounded, more heavy, more fluid, more peaceful. And you might want to stay here for a little longer, as long as you have time for. You could stretch out, roll to the side, roll on up. You could sit on your bolster, and I wanted to close this practice with the Shanti mantra, so if you like, you can take your hands somewhere in a gesture that's meaningful for you. And Shanti means peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.